So it's still October the 12th. It's about 9/11. This is part two of the Kwanlin Dun introduction for Where's My Canada. So what I want to talk about now, we talked about the history of this First Nation, and we talked about how the legal First Nation land claims are viewed through the court system. We're not looking at the moral issues. We just focused on the legal issues and land claims and how the process works. There's two elements to this, of course. The legal is extremely important to win. The emotional is connected, but it's a different ballgame. What I want to show you here is I quickly allowed you to see part of the building. It's just absolutely, if I can see here behind me, it's absolutely beautiful. It's just stunning, and it just has a wonderful spirit. It just feels good in your chest. It just was designed very well, and you can feel the spirituality of this First Nation people in this building. It was just designed expertly. But there's this wonderful little room here called the Sacred Space. And again, maybe this is on the website, but it talks about you're supposed to remove all footwear and metal objects which are believed to harbor negative energy. If you can see this, I apologize, it's not going to be the easiest way of presenting this, but I'll try to zoom in. And if you're watching this on YouTube, you can just freeze it, of course, and read it. And I'm going to try to bring you in so that you can read it. But it describes why different what I would say. It describes why there's a lot of smudging that's going on, for lack of better terminology. I apologize. But the smudging of the eyes, the ears, our mouths, our hearts, our feet are to cleanse and to see truth. And there's quite a few references in this document that to our Creator is worded here, which is exactly my feeling as well. I mean, I have a more traditional way of referring to God as God, possibly just because my mother used that phrase and I was raised that way, and so it endears a very warm feeling to me. And I understand many people don't like using that word, and the semantics of it is really not important to me. What I do find the common ground is divine creator. That's a word that many people can identify with. So in my mind, it's the exact same thing. And if you notice in my writing, I flip frequently between using the word God and using divine creator. And I do that purposefully because my aim is not to alienate or judge or teach. My duty, remember, always is to document and record everything that happens to me. What you do with this, you have your own free will. How you interpret it and how you internalize it is up to you. It has nothing to do with me, and I won't accept responsibility for anyone, how their spiritual views evolve. But divine creator is something that I find everyone can have a common reference point. But I want to draw your attention to this beautiful room, if you can see inside. And I don't believe I'm being disrespectful by showing this, but this is very similar to a Japanese style of having meals, that traditionally they don't sit at a table like as Western cultures do. They would sit on the floor, and the seats would be elevated slightly above the floor so that one's feet would be below them, but in the center of at the center of the table, and they would all sit around in a circle. That's where that people would eat or entertain or discuss or talk. And this is very similar. So you can see that it's just, if you're here, I hope you can feel this through the video. It just has a beautiful feel to it. The feng shui, again, that word is alive here. It's very much alive here. So I sat down here and I looked up at, this is what I was saying, one of many murals through here. And it's, again, it's just beautiful. And it talks about on the riverbanks and the Kwanlin Dun people. But basically, if you can read, and again, possibly this is on the website, mappingtheway.ca, but there's a real connection, you can sense for sure, a real connection these people have with their environment, with the river, with the spirituality of the river. And again, I've said this before, and I've mentioned it in some blogs and certainly in these videos. When you look outside here, let me just bring you over here. When you look here, I mean, I've done this so many times. You look at these mountains in this city, Whitehorse is in the middle of these two mountain ranges. You can't help but escape from understanding that God is here. So where does this come? Where does this affect you? And where does it affect me? And where's my Canada? I've had a problem trying to figure out why this town is not welcoming to me. It's welcoming on a superficial level, but it's not deep at all. There's a lack of connection. The clones are everywhere here. And what I was just looking up at this woman, and it came to me. It finally came to me. I was looking up at this woman, and she's holding up her finger, probably saying, "Why are you not understanding this?" And I now see this. They are not here. The First Nations people are not here. They have fled. There might be some token people. As I found in Toronto, there are some native Torontonians who are still there, but not very many. My doctor is still there. And some people I know were forced by the police to stay despite the exodus that occurred, and we're not going to pretend that this did not occur. There was a water apocalypse that occurred in this country. The entire water supply was either shut off or contaminated in order to reduce the population. I believe that Where's My Canada, like I said, contributed to that being short-circuited. But like Toronto, and that's Illuminati passing by right there to distract my thought, and we've seen that before. Like Toronto, there are people that are native Torontonians who are there, but not very many. The majority of people there are clones. The majority of people in Whitehorse are clones. I had hoped by coming this far north that I would be able to find true Canadians and true First Nation people. I use that Canadians to be all-encompassing in a sense. But I was hoping to find the people, and they're not here. They have all fled. Whitehorse is a city of clones now as well. The RCMP here are horrendously violent. We can get into that. I had many thoughts by the Yukon River, but I wanted to get this out. This touches you and me. Excuse me, and the way that it does is this town is full of clones. My life is clearly in danger here. I'm being frozen to death and starved to death. I was robbed of all my money, and my time now is reaching a few days. It's very rapidly coming to an end. I need to get out of here or I will be dead soon. I looked up here, and I asked this morning, and I said, I was blatant. I'm pretty honest. I posted this morning on Facebook that the treatment that I've received from Canada and from First Nations people is like I caused 35 million Canadians to be homeless, and I murdered 100,000 First Nations women. I have not frankly